Hey there everybody, and today I want to talk to you about how I learned to trust in my own abilities again. Hey there everyone, my name's Dave, aka Mindset by Dave, and I've been a mindset and mental health coach for the past 4 years, helping people get unstuck with whatever it is that holds them back up there, mindset, mental health, personal development. As well as videos here on YouTube, I also stream live on twitch.tv/mindset by Dave every Saturday evening from 7 PM till 10 PM, and every Tuesday daytime for a mental health drop-in chat from 10 AM till 4 PM. All of those times are UK times, and on top of all of that, we also have the Discord, which should be popping up on screen around about now, where you can come and chat between those times and make friends with a community of people that are there for the same reason. Anywho, on with the content. So I don't know how many of the personal videos of mine that you've watched, but I'll just pop a little link to the main important one just up above right now. The big important sort of take home is about all this is in 2009 I tried to take my own life. Now, the version of me that most people see is this version right here, right now. If you come on stream, you might see me like a little bit more up here, a little bit more down there. I have type 2 bipolar disorder, so that's to be expected. But on these videos, I tend to bring a reasonably sort of level amount of energy. And I would say that on the whole, in life now, I have my shit together most of the time, not all of the time. And I don't trust those people that have it together all of the time. So it's often very hard for people to accept that I was ever in the position that I was back then. Now, specifically the position I was in, this is a year after my suicide attempt, and I was, well, we can call it unemployed, if you want to put that label on it. I call it running a failing business at the time, and I'd just got into a new relationship. Now, a huge thing that had happened in the period that led up to my suicide attempt was I just felt like the most useless person on the face of the planet. I'd forgotten how to do simple skills that I knew before, like cooking and cleaning, making sure the laundry was done. And I didn't just go from that to this in a moment of epiphany and suddenly was able to handle absolutely everything in life again. It took a lot of time, and it wasn't that I suddenly just immediately believed in myself again. I actually just believed in the possibility of getting a little bit stronger. And during the sort of 6-month period before getting in this relationship, I'd really begun to start just leaning on myself. I'd spent my entire life leaning on other people. I'd lent on my mum, and then I got in my first relationship when I was 17, and I lent on my partner, and then we got married really, really young, had a couple of kids, and I was always kind of dependent on somebody else. So this was actually the first point in my life of like true independence. Now, the thing that when you depend on other people, and not that depending on other people is a bad thing, a lot of people don't depend on other people enough. But the thing when you only depend on other people, as soon as you have a problem, you go to somebody else to fix that, is you get something called learned helplessness. You get something where you learn to not trust yourself and the decisions that you would make. You almost lose the ability to look after yourself, and you certainly lose the belief that you are capable of looking after yourself. Now, when I realized this, and I realized I've never really been alone in my whole life, I've never learned to be okay on my own, I put a sort of thing out into the universe that I am going to be single for 12 months, and then I'm going to that's when I'll start looking for a relationship. I lasted like 10. And although I'd done some of this groundwork to actually start becoming more independent, there was a part of my brain that once I was in a relationship, I was like, oh, okay, I can sit back on this personal development thing now. I've got someone to complete me because, that's what we're taught by Hollywood is supposed to happen. And I practically defaulted back into expecting somebody else to handle my bad days. Now, the person I started seeing then, I'm glad to announce, is my wife of 7 years right now, and we've been in a relationship for nearly 10 and a half. But it's a surprise that we actually got past those first few months, because ultimately, whenever I had a bad day, I would be on the phone to her in tears, asking her to come home from work and come save me, to kind of ride in on the white horse and protect me from the depression that was gripping my brain. Now, one of the big things that I am grateful for now, but certainly was not grateful for at the time, is that she couldn't just do that. She worked for an employer that wouldn't understand that, and at the time she was unable to kind of come out and actually help me, which during those actual moments, especially the first few times, left me feeling kind of alone, kind of abandoned. However, Had she have come back to do that, I would have had the expectation that that was what it would take to fix my bad days. And I would have continued to believe the fact that I was incapable of actually getting through those things through my own means. It's a little bit like having the stabilizers on your bike as a kid. You know, the stabilizers are there, that's what's keeping you upright. You're never actually going to learn to stay upright on your own while those stabilizer wheels are on there. And probably no kids out there are the ones suggesting we take off the stabilizers. It's always the parents that make that suggestion. As a parent, we would want to keep that child safe, but we're also balancing off keeping that child safe against helping that child be independent. And the same can be true with mental health. And this has been an awkward video for me to make, because I've been wanting to talk about this topic for a very, very long time. But the last thing I wanted to come across to you guys is the best thing you can do to your partner or friend with mental health is leave them to look after themselves. That is not the story we're talking about here. All I'm saying is that there are two separate skills in this world. One is reaching out for help, and one is reaching in and helping yourself. And the trick really is finding which one actually works for you. For the majority of us, it's going to be a blend of both. And they are two separate solutions, and specifically, they're almost like skills, because looking after yourself is very much a skill that you need to develop. Reaching out to others is also a skill that many people need to develop because it feels unnatural or wrong in the instance. But I actually think it's important for people to learn both of these things, because if we only ever reach out for help, then we never develop the skill of actually looking after ourselves. Meanwhile, if we're always looking inside and trying to look after ourselves, that'll be effective for some people, but for many people, they won't quite get to where they want to be, and they need to get that additional help from the outside. The main part about all of this, though, is that through that time, I learned to go, you know what, I can do this. It's hard. It was very hard. A lot of tears were shed. A lot of pillows were screamed into, but I was able to do it. And then as a result, yes, there's been times that I've lent on my partner. Yes, there's been times that I've even lent on my kids. Since then, I've lent on my mum, I've lent on my friends since then. But I also know that if I'm stuck in a situation where I can't lean on any of these people, that I'm able to lean on myself. And this was an absolutely essential part of me getting from where I was to where I am now. Learning to trust in myself once more, learning to trust in my own abilities, replacing the story of I can't handle this with maybe I can handle just a little bit more. Maybe I can handle a little bit more today. And congratulating myself, like we talk about in the Baby Steps and Happy Dancers video, like being proud of myself for the fact that, okay, today I actually managed to look after that depression better than I would before. And a funny thing happens when you start feeling that self-efficacy again, is actually you start feeling empowered. And when you feel empowered, it's a lot harder for depression to creep in. Again, not impossible. I still have days where depression gets me, and particularly 2020 has been a very hard time for that. However, I have that backbone that is the belief that I can get through this. And I almost think that the opposite of depression is not happiness. The opposite of depression is hope. When I struggled with depression, I very much believed that things could never get better. Nowadays, I very much believe that they can, and they can continue to get better from where they are. And even in the darkest of depressions, when that little tiny glimmer of light is there inside my brain, it's enough to keep me going. Now, I'm not saying don't reach out to other people. It is an essential part of many people's journeys. But what I'm saying is, don't do it at the cost of thinking that you can't handle things on your own. We do need to test these limits, and usually they are so much further beyond than what we actually think that they are. Using this combination of self-efficacy and beginning to believe in yourself and trust yourself and your own abilities again, and reaching out for support when you need it. That way you're going to get the best of both worlds, and then you're going to be in a situation where you feel empowered. As always, I hope you found this useful, and if you have, please hit that subscribe button. Remember, it is priceless to you, but it's completely utterly priceless to me. And again, if you want to come and talk live on twitch.tv/mindsetbydave, that's every Tuesdays from 10 AM until 4 PM and every Saturday from 7 PM till 10 PM. And again, there's the Discord. I would love to go a little bit deeper with you.